The ultimatum. The massive alien vessel appeared without warning. One moment, Earth's orbital monitoring systems showed nothing unusual. The next, a ship nearly 2 kilometers long materialized just beyond lunar orbit, its hull shimmering with iridescent patterns that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal under Earth's distant sun. Admiral Kai Yamato stood motionless in the United Earth Defense Force Command Center, his weathered face illuminated by the glow of holographic displays. For decades, humanity had searched the stars for signs of intelligent life. Now that life had found them instead. All defense platforms are tracking the vessel, reported Lieutenant Commander Rivera, her voice steady despite the tension that gripped the room. No aggressive movements detected so far. Open all communication frequencies, Yamato ordered. Let's see if our visitors want to talk. The command center fell silent as the communications officer worked. Minutes stretched like hours until finally, the main display flickered and revealed an alien face. The being that appeared on screen had features that seemed vaguely insectoid, compound eyes that shimmered with prismatic colors, mandibles that clicked softly as it moved, and a carapace that gleamed like polished obsidian. Yet there was something undeniably intelligent in those alien eyes, something that transcended the vast evolutionary gulf between their species. People of Earth, the alien spoke, its words translated through an algorithm that rendered the clicking sounds into fluid English. I am High Arbiter Vexlar of the Stellar Conclave, the governing body of the 37 civilized worlds of this galactic sector. Admiral Yamato stepped forward. On behalf of Earth and humanity, I welcome you. We are honored by your... Spare us your diplomatic pleasantries, Vexlar interrupted, mandibles clicking rapidly. The conclave has not come to exchange cultural niceties. We have come to deliver judgment. Murmurs spread through the command center as Yamato's expression hardened. Judgment? On what grounds? This is our first contact with your civilization. That is precisely why we are here, Vexlar replied. The conclave has observed your species for over 200 of your years. We have monitored your rapid technological advancement, your wars, your environmental destruction, and your insatiable expansion. Your kind represents a clear and imminent threat to galactic stability. Within hours, the United Earth government convened an emergency session. Leaders from every nation gathered in New Geneva as Vexlar's ultimatum was broadcast to billions around the planet. The terms are simple, Vexlar announced. Humanity will relinquish its autonomy and accept conclave governance. Your military capabilities will be dismantled. Your technological development will be restricted and supervised. In exchange, you will receive the benefits of conclave protection and limited access to our knowledge. President Helena Diaz, her face a mask of controlled fury, addressed the alien representative. And if we refuse? Vexlar's compound eyes seemed to pulse with cold light. Then the conclave will have no choice but to eliminate the threat you pose. We have the means to sterilize your world entirely. To demonstrate their power, the conclave ship fired a single energy pulse at an uninhabited section of the lunar surface. The resulting explosion excavated a crater nearly 50 kilometers wide. Earth had 7 days to decide. In a private chamber beneath the United Earth Government headquarters, a smaller group gathered to discuss options. Military leaders presented scenarios, all ending in defeat. Earth's most advanced weapons would be useless against the conclave's technology. We need more time, argued Secretary of Defense Omar Wasaki. If we can delay their timeline, perhaps we can find a weakness. President Diaz nodded slowly. Then we'll send our best diplomat to negotiate. All eyes turned to Ambassador Ilara Chen. At 42, Ilara had brokered peace during the resource wars and united fractious nations under the Earth Government Charter. Her reputation for finding compromise in impossible situations was legendary. It's a suicide mission, Ilara said quietly after reviewing the intelligence reports. But I'll go. The shuttle that carried Ilara to the conclave vessel was unarmed, broadcasting on all frequencies that it carried Earth's official envoy. As she boarded, Ilara pressed a small locket into Admiral Yamato's hand. "If I don't return," she whispered, "give this to my daughter." The journey to the alien vessel took less than 3 hours. Ilara spent the time reviewing cultural protocols and preparing various diplomatic approaches. None of her training, however, had prepared her for what awaited. The Conclave ship's interior was a labyrinth of curved corridors with surfaces that seemed to pulse with internal light. Ilara was escorted by silent, drone-like entities to a vast chamber where 7 different alien species awaited. The Conclave Council. Vexlar occupied the central position. "Ambassador Chen, your presence here changes nothing. The terms remain non-negotiable." Ilara stood tall despite the oppressive gravity settings. "With respect, Arbiter, every conflict has room for compromise. Humanity has much to offer as partners rather than subjects." For 3 hours, Ilara presented arguments for cooperation. She highlighted humanity's art, philosophy, scientific innovation, and capacity for growth. She appealed to principles of self-determination that surely must transcend species boundaries. The council listened in silence. When she finished, Vexlar conferred briefly with the other members before turning back to her. "We have deliberated," the Arbiter announced. "The Conclave's assessment remains unchanged. However, your appeals have revealed troubling information. You speak of humanity's potential as if it were unique. Your species displays dangerous levels of pride and resistance to necessary control." Ilara felt a chill spread through her body. "I don't understand." "You have proven our point," Vexlar said. "Defiance is coded into your very genetics. You cannot be trusted to submit peacefully." What happened next was broadcast to every screen on Earth. Without warning, mechanical appendages emerged from the chamber floor, restraining Ilara before she could react. Vexlar approached her, a device in its elongated fingers that pulsed with ominous energy. "Your execution will serve as demonstration of Conclave resolve," the Arbiter announced. "Your species must understand that resistance is futile." Ilara's last words echoed across a stunned planet. "Humanity will never kneel." The energy pulse that took Ambassador Chen's life was mercifully quick. The transmission ended immediately after. Earth erupted in outrage and terror. Military forces worldwide went to highest alert despite the futility of resistance. Families fled to rural areas and underground shelters. Religious gatherings swelled as people sought comfort in faith. In the chaos that followed, few noticed when Admiral Yamato disappeared, taking with him Ilara's locket and a small team of specialized personnel. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice shelf, in a facility officially designated as a climate research station, Yamato inserted the locket into a console that hadn't been activated in thousands of years. The locket wasn't jewelry. It was a key. Ancient systems hummed to life as holographic displays filled the chamber with star charts and schematics of weapons technology far beyond humanity's current capabilities. "Dr. Okafor," Yamato called to the lead scientist. "Is it working?" Dr. Aisha Okafor studied the displays with wide eyes. "The signal is being transmitted, but we don't know if." Her words were cut short as the facility shuddered. Alarms blared as sensors detected massive movement deep beneath them. "It's responding," Okafor whispered. "After all this time, it's actually responding." Across the planet, in the deepest ocean trenches, beneath remote mountain ranges, and hidden in plain sight under major cities, ancient machinery began to awaken from millennia of dormancy. And in the genetic code of selected humans worldwide, military personnel, scientists, even ordinary citizens with specific genetic markers, dormant sequences began to activate, flooding their minds with knowledge and memories that weren't their own. Memories of a time when humans weren't just from Earth, when they sailed between stars and stood as equals among the ancient civilizations of the galaxy. Before the fall, before the hiding, before they buried their technology and altered their genetics to appear as a young species taking its first steps into space, the Stellar Conclave had made a catastrophic miscalculation. They hadn't discovered a dangerous emerging civilization. They had found a sleeping giant. The awakening. Captain Maya Iwasaki woke with a gasp, her mind burning with information that shouldn't be there. Star charts of systems she'd never seen. Engineering principles for drives that defied known physics. Combat tactics against species that weren't in any Earth database. And above all, a single imperative pulsing through her consciousness. Reach Outpost Sentinel-7. Activate the Phoenix Protocol. Around the world, thousands of others experienced the same awakening. Military personnel abandoned posts, scientists walked out of laboratories, and civilians left their daily lives behind, all drawn by compulsions they couldn't explain but somehow knew they must follow. In the Antarctic facility, Admiral Yamato watched as the ancient systems continued their activation sequence. The holographic displays now showed movement across the planet as hidden installations powered up after thousands of years in stasis. "Sir," Lieutenant Commander Rivera reported, her voice tight with controlled excitement. "We're receiving signals from 13 deep ocean sites, 8 mountain complexes, and at least 24 urban locations. Whatever was sleeping down there, it's waking up." Yamato nodded grimly. "And the Conclave?" "Their main vessel hasn't moved, but they've deployed smaller ships to major cities. They're broadcasting demands for immediate surrender, citing Ambassador Chen's execution as proof of their resolve." Dr. Okafor looked up from her station. "Admiral, these systems are showing that we have less than 12 hours before full activation. What do we tell the civilian population?" "The truth," Yamato replied. "As much of it as we now understand." In a global broadcast that bypassed all existing communication networks, using technology that even the Conclave couldn't block, Yamato addressed a frightened planet. "Citizens of Earth, I am Admiral Kai Yamato of the United Earth Defense Force. By now, you have witnessed the barbaric execution of Ambassador Chen and heard the Conclave's ultimatum. You may believe that we face extinction. You would be wrong." He paused, looking directly into the camera. "The truth has been hidden for generations, known only to a select few tasked with guarding humanity's greatest secret. We are not merely an emerging species. Earth is not our only home." Images began to appear on screens worldwide, schematics of massive ships, star maps showing hundreds of colonized worlds, and ancient battles against enemies that included the very species now comprising the Conclave. Over 10,000 years ago, humanity stood among the greatest civilizations in this galactic sector. We were explorers, builders, and when necessary, warriors. But a catastrophic war forced our ancestors to make an unthinkable choice, to hide our true nature, bury our technology, and alter our very genetics to appear as a young species, believing that time would allow old enemies to forget us. Across Earth, as Yamato spoke, massive structures began to rise. From the Pacific Ocean, a sleek vessel nearly 3 kilometers long broke the surface, water cascading from its gleaming hull. Similar ships emerged from hidden bunkers beneath mountain ranges and desert plains. The Phoenix Protocol was our ancestors' final contingency, a way to restore our forgotten legacy if we ever faced extinction. Ambassador Chen carried the activation key, and in sacrificing herself, she has awakened what has long slumbered. Captain Maya Iwasaki had reached her destination, an ordinary-looking warehouse in New Osaka that concealed an entrance to a facility that shouldn't exist. As she placed her hand on a scanner hidden behind mundane storage crates, a door materialized in what had appeared to be solid wall. Inside, she found others like her, military personnel and civilians alike, all drawn by the same awakened memories, all working with practiced precision on systems they somehow knew how to operate. Drive systems at 60% and rising, reported a young woman who had been a university student just days ago, her fingers dancing across controls with the confidence of decades of experience she couldn't possibly have. Maya nodded, the knowledge flowing through her mind guiding her actions. "Prepare for ascension. We launch in 30 minutes. In orbit, the Conclave vessel detected the massive energy signatures emerging from Earth's surface. Additional warships translated into the system, their weapons charging as they moved to attack positions. Vexlar's transmission cut into all Earth communications. Your deception changes nothing. The Conclave's judgment stands. Your hidden technology merely confirms your danger to galactic stability. The first Conclave energy strikes hit major cities, targeting what their sensors identified as the emerging threat. Millions died in the initial barrage as buildings collapsed and firestorms spread. But it was too late to stop what had begun. The ancient vessels, over 50 in total, rose from their hiding places, surrounded by energy fields that absorbed or deflected the Conclave's attacks. Each ship carried thousands of awakened humans, their minds now holding both their modern identities and the restored memories of their ancestors. Admiral Yamato stood on the bridge of the largest vessel, now identified in his mind as the Eternal Phoenix, the flagship of humanity's ancient fleet. All vessels, assume defensive formation, he ordered. Target Conclave warships only. Minimal collateral damage. The human fleet moved with impossible coordination, their technology clearly superior to even the advanced Conclave vessels. Weapons fired not energy beams or projectiles, but distortions in space-time itself that caused Conclave ships to implode or phase partially out of reality. In the chaos of battle, a transmission from the Eternal Phoenix reached the Conclave flagship. This is Admiral Yamato to High Arbiter Vexlar. Your attack on Earth constitutes a war crime under the Ancient Compact, the very laws your Conclave claims to uphold. You executed our diplomat without provocation and attacked civilian targets without declaration of war. On screen, Vexlar's compound eyes pulsed with what might have been fear. The compact applies only to recognized civilizations. Earth claimed no prior knowledge of galactic society. A deception necessitated by the Purge Wars, Yamato replied. Check your oldest records, Arbiter. The emblem on our vessels was once known throughout this galaxy. The golden phoenix emblem that adorned each human ship had indeed appeared in the Conclave's most ancient historical archives, associated with a civilization believed extinct for millennia. A civilization that had once held territory spanning hundreds of star systems before mysteriously disappearing. Within hours, the battle had turned decisively. Conclave ships retreated or surrendered as the human fleet demonstrated capabilities that hadn't been seen in the galaxy for thousands of years. When the fighting ended, Admiral Yamato addressed not just Earth, but the surviving Conclave leadership. Humanity does not seek vengeance for your attack, nor do we wish to resume ancient conflicts. What we desire is recognition of our sovereignty and our rightful place among galactic civilizations. In the days that followed, as Earth began to rebuild and integrate the recovered technology, the true scope of humanity's heritage became clear. The genetic memories now awakening in millions revealed the story of a spacefaring civilization that had colonized hundreds of worlds before a devastating conflict forced them to hide their true nature, even from themselves. Earth had been chosen as the sanctuary world, a place where human genetics would be modified to suppress their advanced knowledge and technological aptitude, allowing them to develop slowly as if they were a new species, hidden from enemies who would have hunted them to extinction. The Phoenix Protocol had been the final safeguard, designed to activate only when humanity faced an existential threat, restoring their genetic memory and awakening the technology hidden around their sanctuary world. Captain Maya Iwasaki, now commanding a scout vessel named Horizon Seeker, prepared for humanity's first mission of rediscovery, to find the lost colonies that might still exist, hidden as Earth had been. Navigation systems are fully operational, reported her first officer, a former accountant named Daniel Mbiki, who now carried the memories of a navigator who had once charted paths between stars. Maya nodded, feeling both her modern self and the ancient knowledge that now lived within her. Set course for the Arcturus system. According to the archives, that was home to our largest colony. As the Horizon Seeker and dozens of other vessels prepared to depart, Earth continued its transformation. The technology being integrated would solve energy crisis, environmental damage, and resource limitations. The genetic awakening brought medical knowledge that would eliminate disease and extend human lifespans. In New Geneva, Admiral Yamato met with representatives of the conclave who had come to negotiate peace. "You must understand our perspective," the new conclave ambassador said. "Your people showed all the signs of a dangerous emerging species. We had no way of knowing your true history." "Then perhaps," Yamato replied, "the conclave should reconsider its policy of judgment without full understanding. Today it was humanity that surprised you. Tomorrow it might be another sleeping giant." As the diplomatic talks continued, humanity looked to the stars with new eyes, not as tentative explorers taking their first steps into an unknown galaxy, but as returning travelers reclaiming their ancient legacy. The execution of Ambassador Ilara Chen, intended to break humanity's spirit, had instead awakened its true nature. Her sacrifice had triggered the Phoenix Protocol and revealed the truth that had been hidden for millennia. Humanity had always belonged among the stars.